I'd have to say that the biggest learning that I've gotten is don't sell people. People don't like to be sold. Giving, if we do it as the body, makes such an impact on the outside unbelieving world. You don't even understand until you see it. Hey guys, I'm Greg Dean, and this is the Joyful Giving Podcast. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about the impact of generosity. We may or may not think about these things often, but I want to point them out to you to encourage you that it isn't just about the action of taking one thing and handing it over to something else. There's a ripple effect that occurs that we may not consider on a daily basis. So let me point them out to you. First, I would say that the Great Commission becomes much easier. Now, this ties into the second that I'll get to in a second, and that is we truly become the light to the nations. But put a pin in that. The Great Commission becomes easier because it draws people toward us rather than us having to go toward them. Being in a sales career for the last 27-ish years, I'd have to say that the biggest learning that I've gotten is don't sell people. People don't like to be sold. Draw them toward the solution so that it is ultimately their decision, their idea to buy your product. Now, we're certainly not selling a product here, but we are, in some respects, selling when we share the gospel. But wouldn't it be so much easier if they came to us asking, what is this strange but gorgeous thing that is making you guys so joyful, that has you trying to outdo one another in love, that makes you so giving and selfless and generous? Giving, if we do it as the body, makes such an impact on the outside unbelieving world. You don't even understand until you see it. This has actually happened to a number of people within my church who at work have been noticed by coworkers, and they literally come to them and ask, why are you always so joyful? Why are you always so others focused? Why are you always taking on the load of others? And they have the opportunity to say, because of Jesus Christ. I wasn't like this, but then I was. And that's because I learned that Jesus Christ came and lived the perfect life that I could never live, died on the cross to pay the wages of my sin, rose on the third day to defeat death once and for all, so that by placing my faith in him, I would be able to be called a son of God, eternally bought at that price to be in his family, in heaven with God. What an opportunity. Not knocking on someone's door and saying, hey, sorry to bother you. What a way to begin. Instead, receiving the questions. We have an opportunity through generosity, especially sacrificial and joyful generosity, to literally be a light to the nations, which is the second point. Jesus talks about, after he spoke about us being salt, he spoke about us being light. A city on a hill cannot be hidden because it's lit up with fires, right? With oil lamps. A light should not be placed on the ground with a basket over it. It should be put up high so that it lightens everything in the room, and by it, we see everything clearly. We too are called to be a light to the world. How can we be a light to the world? How can we shine Christ? One of those major barometers is generosity. Being so unworldly, sacrificial, almost hysterical in the joy of giving what we have away that the outside world can't help but notice. Now, will some be annoyed by it? Absolutely. If you walk into a dark room and flash a flashlight in someone's eyes, they flinch. They fight back. But most appreciate the fact that by that light, that glorious light, they can now see. They benefit. The third is joy for the believer. We're always looking for contentment. We're looking for peace. In fact, if I were to ask anybody on the street, believer or not, whether they would like to be ultimately wealthy and absolutely miserable, or be destitute without anything, not even knowing when your next meal is coming from, but to be filled with joy and contentment, which would you choose? I'm willing to bet that 80+%, if not 100%, would say, I'll take peace. Absolutely. And I'd especially attribute that answer to those who are already wealthy. They'd take peace and give it all up. So joy comes from giving. Really, joy comes from stepping into obedience, faith. But a byproduct of faith, or an indicator of our faith, is generosity. So a byproduct of generosity then is joy. And finally, and probably most importantly, the byproduct of generosity is reflecting what God really looks like. Christ was so generous, always others focused, always serving others, always going to the least of these, those who are the edge of society, and loving on them in a way that no one was loving them. If they were sick, they stayed away from them. If they were known to be tax collectors or sheep herders or some other career of disrepute, he would go to them because no one else did. And because of that, God was glorified. They were drawn out of whatever, whether it was sickness or other sin or anything like that. They actually were drawn into that love. And God was glorified. If we would look at our generosity, our giving habits, and understand that this is the repercussion, this is the ripple effect of generosity, would we not be more motivated? Would we not encourage one another in love to step deeper and deeper into this? And would we also realize that by not doing these things, we're not representing Christ accurately? We want to, though, don't we? Guys, thanks for listening. I'm Greg Dean, and this is the Joyful Giving Podcast.